Actually, learning Thai is not difficult at all. It's just in today's episode, we're going to discuss why learning Thai may be way easier than you have imagined. So there is a statement that learning Thai is difficult because Thai language is a tonal language, along with so many other reasons. But I disagree with that. And this comes from someone who is, well, a Thai native speaker, so I don't have to learn Thai. But I learned to become fluent in English as an adult. So I cross-examine the way that people learn English and the way that a lot of my friends are learning Thai. I come up with these 4 or 5 reasons why I think actually learning Thai is not difficult at all. It's just this mental thing that make people think that learning Thai is difficult. The number one reason that people say learning Thai is difficult is the fact that Thai language is a tonal language. So they would say things like, if you speak the words with different tones and people won't understand you. Well, I guess like 2% of the time this would be true, but 98% of the time this isn't true at all. And I know that there are words that are very tricky like ใกล้ and ไกล so ใกล้ means near and ไกล means far. And it's very easy to confuse between these two. And these two words may sound exactly the same, but when you actually use it in Thai, you would have some clues of what the speakers mean. For example, when you say that it's ไกล it's far, you would say ไกลจาก which is far from. And you say it's near, you would say ใกล้กับ which in English would have been near to. So you would see that with the whole sentence, you could probably decipher if what the speakers mean is near or far. So it's all about learning the whole expression or the sentence. And in saying that, I think what makes people not understand you when you speak Thai is actually not the fact that you don't nail the tones. I think it's the fact that maybe you haven't found the ways to form a proper sentence. The more that you can form a sentence, even if the tone is wrong, people will still understand you. Exhibit number 1. In Thailand, there are many different dialects and accents. In my region, instead of saying กินข้าว which means to eat rice, which means to have a meal in Thai, we say กินข้าว which to a central Thai person, this means to eat knees. People may laugh about it, but people know what you mean because nobody really actually eat knees. So they know that this sentence means that you are having a meal rather than knees. So this misconception about how people won't understand you when you speak with the wrong tones really deter a lot of people from starting the language. I would say, don't worry about it. Just start the language and try to make sentences. And even if your sentences are not perfect or if you get some of tones wrong, people will understand you. Just the same way that I speak English with certain words being mispronounced, but people still understand me most of the time, I suppose. The second reason why I think learning Thai is way easier than you thought is the fact that the Thai grammar is so loose. So that means that you learn more words and you speak it, and then it makes sense. What do I mean by this? I'm talking about conjugation specifically. In languages like English, Spanish, or most Western languages, you have things that are called tenses. So this would be the thing that tells you when the actions has taken place. So for example, you say, I go, I went, I have been, I'm planning to visit, I'm going. In Thai, what you do is actually you add more words to tell the time. So you say, I go here yesterday. I go here tomorrow. I go here since 2011. I go here all the time. So you can see once you learn the word go, which is by in Thai, you can always use it. And then you have to learn other words to add up and build a sentence around what you want it to mean. Similarly, when it comes to pronouns, you also don't change the verb forms according to who speaks it. In Spanish, for example, when it's I or you or he or she, the verbs would change its form. But in Thai, it's always the same verb. So you can see The more words you learn, the more that you can speak the language. I have met a lot of people that learn Thai for a few weeks and they sound a great deal good in Thai because they learn tons of words and they just string words together and it doesn't sound perfect, but they can really communicate with people very easily. Whereas when I was studying English, for example, the idea of tenses conjugation was quite a headache to begin with. The number three reason why learning Thai is easy is because people are really rooting for you in learning Thai and there's no pressure whatsoever in learning this language. When you learn bigger languages like English or Spanish, I think sometimes there's this assumption that you would be able to speak it. I think in English particular, if you say a few sentences in English, no one would be like, oh, you speak really good English and try to cheer you on in learning the language. Well, it could happen, but quite rare, especially when you are in the country that speak English as the main language. In the Thai language, if you're not from Thailand, and if you speak some Thai words to Thai people, sometimes you speak two sentences and people will be like, oh, you speak good Thai. I would say most of the time when you speak Thai, you would find a chance to speak with people. And even if you don't speak much, people would always cheer you on, unlike in an English speaking environment. Or I think worse, maybe if you are learning French and if you go to France, I've heard stories that it's not the most encouraging environment when you were trying to learn French in France, for example, because people are never really impressed with you. Whereas for Thais, they are really impressed with you when you are not supposed to speak the Thai language, but you do even a little bit. And that comes to the fourth reason why it is easy to learn Thai. It's also the fact that people are super helpful. I think when you speak some Thai, when 20% or 30% of it, you have opened the door to make Thai friends quite easily. And I think this is something that I found quite unique in this culture. And I think when I was abroad, for example, I was trying to learn Spanish and I know people that are trying to learn Dutch. When they are in the actual countries that speak the native language they want to learn, I think sometimes the locals would prefer to speak with other people who are already fluent and they wouldn't find talking to someone who's not fluent really enticing. Sometimes they would switch to English. And case in point, if you are in the Netherlands, you can't speak Dutch, you're trying to speak Dutch, but it's not good. I think 100% of the time people would just switch to English because the English proficiency there is quite high, so why bother speaking Dutch, right? In Thailand, however, because the proficiency in English is quite low, and the fact that Thai people are quite friendly when it comes to helping you learning the language, unless they're super scared, then they would really include you to situations where you can use more Thai, especially if you live in smaller provinces, cities, or villages. I think you'll be invited to events, weddings, funerals, dancing events, and then you would get to hang out more with the local people, and that would really accelerate your Thai learning quite easily. I think Thais are quite generous when it comes to making friends with people who don't speak Thai fluently, especially when you're not Asian. Sadly saying that, but I guess you have this privilege of not looking like a local, so they don't expect you to even speak the language, sadly. The last reason, which I don't think is the last reason, but let's say like this is what I come up with for now. The last reason why learning Thai is easy is because the sound of the Thai language is most of the time quite clear cut. I would say that in English, there is this thing that is called linking sound, I think. And when you say words like come on, you say come on. So like the ma and come would fall onto the on. So come on. In Thai, each word is most of the time quite clear cut, unless the speakers are more youngish or the speakers are more influenced by other culture. And when you are learning this language and when people speak quite clearly like this, it will be quite fast to just pick up what they say. Of course, there are some other things in the Thai language that make Thai learning difficult. For example, the fact that most Thai speakers are not consistent with the R and the L sound, so the R and the L. It's all mixed up when native speakers speak it. This could make it more difficult for you to understand. But I think based on these 4 or 5 reasons that I have given you, I think and I hope that this would really encourage you into trying the Thai language, because what is better than just learning the language, that the more that you learn words, the more that you can speak it. All right, I hope you enjoy this episode, and I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to this channel if you like this kind of content, and clicking like on this video if you like it as well. I hope you have learned a lot from this video.